I often want to record a video when I'm driving down the road, but it's not a good idea. Don't recommend it because I always seem to get my good ideas when I'm driving down the road. But it's not a smart idea. Anyway, I just been thinking a lot about how people can slip through the cracks of being identified as a younger person, and even if you are identified, I'm not really convinced that our healthcare system is really very positive for people on the spectrum. Um, Seems like it's always looked at as some sort of a deficit, that you have some kind of deficit. And these doctors oftentimes want to get you on psychotropic drugs, or because they don't understand what's going on with you, they will, jump to conclusions. A lot of times people are misdiagnosed because the meltdowns look like, bipolar or whatever. And I think that it's a really good idea to, if you're wondering yourself, is to find other people. This is what I read early on when I was first trying to discover, some things, is, join some communities. And it was really interesting. I had joined a community. I read about, hey, you should join communities. So I joined this community online, and it's kind of fascinating because I realized, like, after the very first meetup online through Zoom, I was like, wow, like they talk like I do, and they don't like the small talk. They go right deep. They go deep, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. And um I don't know, I was explaining to them about, that I was, on this journey and trying to discover, if I had some kind of, neurodiversity. And just in explaining some of the things that I cope with or deal with, they were like so inclusive and so welcoming and so like, yeah, you're one of us. And it's the first time in my life where I'm like, wow, okay, maybe I have found my tribe. And, you know, it was really reassuring and really, I don't know how to explain it, but like, confirming maybe is the word. But, also, you have this little microcosm of like group of people that are, similar to you. And then it's like, wow, you have to go back into the real world where everything is like it is, and it's so exhausting. It's exhausting having to like mask. And and I've done it all my life. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but it's like, you meet people, or like, for instance, one thing that's really quite embarrassing is I almost always just don't even hear people's names, because it just feels like my brain is like assessing so many other things when I meet people. Like, oh my god, is this person a threat? Like, I can smell their cologne, or I can, this or that, or like their hair, or it's like, to where their name just goes whoop right over my head. And then I might always feel really, really embarrassed because I don't know their name. And like, I've had people like recently, this guy, and he's like, oh, hey Karen. And I'm like, who are you exactly? Like, where did I meet you? Like, I was kind of looked at him, and he's like, oh, you were at that dance. And yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. And it turns out he was like a veteran, and I and encourage the DJ, because we were talking about, I forget what, oh yeah, we were talking about he went to some kind of thing that was honoring veterans, and he didn't mind you, he was a Vietnam veteran, and he was like, "Yeah, they played that song, Another One Bites the Dust." And I was like, "Whoa, wow, okay, that might not be the best song." And he's like, "Yeah, that's not the best song to be playing when, when we're honoring, my fallen buddies or whatever." And I was like, "No, not." I said, "But do you like that song?" And because I had run up to the DJ and I'm like, "Hey, can you play Another One Bites the Dust?" And and then I went, "Oh shit, what if he doesn't like that song?" So then I went back to him, I'm like, "But do you like that song?" He goes, "Yeah, I like that. I really do like that song." Oh, thank goodness, because I just asked the DJ to play, but I didn't tell him that because I wanted to see the surprise on his face when the song came on, and the exciting song comes on, and he's like all excited, and he came out and danced with me, so it's pretty fun. But my therapist, I really like her so much. I've never been with a therapist this long, but with the grieving process that I'm going through with being neurodiverse and just feeling that loss of like a lifetime of just no accommodations, trying to like, figure life out, and the struggle is real, man. um you know I'm really grateful, for her helping me. And actually I kind of feel sorry for her today because I really offloaded a lot of stuff onto her. I think I already said that, but anyway, it's a process. It's a process of like grieving, and I feel like I make a few steps forward and then I make a few steps back, and you know um I hope I get to hope, I hope I get to where I can find some kind of hope, some kind of feeling of, this is all gonna be okay. It's all gonna work out, and you know, um living most of your life, being underemployed, which is really common for neurodiverse people. And not for lack of talent, but mainly for the lack of accommodations, my last the last job I had, like, I really liked the job. The job was great, but I had like this boss that was an alkie. She was an alkie, and her dad, who owned the business, an alkie. And she was just like, when we were doing some training, early on training, she was just like yelling at me, and I was like, oh wow. And she's just like, "Do you get it? Do you get it? What does that abbreviation mean? What does that mean? What does it mean?" And I'm just like, it means blah blah blah. So like I was trying really hard to like remember what it was, because I really wanted this job. But it turns out like I mean, it was the shit of nightmares because I asked her, I go, I know I'm taking over a part of a job from somebody that was like doing this job. Is this gonna be a hostile situation? Like, is this guy gonna be mad at me or whatever? And she's like, "Oh no, 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 he's not." Now, mind you, all this was through emails. All this was email letters. Like, "Oh, do you have any questions for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got questions for you." Like the guy that you're demoting, is he gonna? And it turns out, dude was like ex-military, and he was like packing a sidearm, and he would like turn his little hip and kind of put that little sidearm towards me while I'm in the office, and I'm just like, I think he's trying to say something to me. Like, it's just like, yeah, some fun, interesting things. And like the dad was, dad was like playing TV, Fox News, mind you, and I'm not gonna say anything either way because I don't want to go down the political line, but like, this stuff in the background just playing really loud on the big screen TV, and he's not even there listening to it. And then so like I learned a whole bunch of different programs, computer programs to run this resort. And I really felt like I did great. In fact, I know I did really great. And I learned the whole facility, which had multiple units, and I cleaned, and I hired maids, and I supervised maids, and I did their payroll, and I scheduled them, and. So it's not like it's not like I'm stupid, but the thing is the drunk dad, the dude with the little sidearm coming in all high on pot, and just the whole madness, the dynamics. Like, mind you, I have to answer emails, answer calls, set up bookings, take credit card information, blah, 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 blah. I have stinky dad, and I got Fox News blaring in the background, and I got, sidearm dude, wafting in, reeking like cannabis. And, like, I can't, with the monotropic focus, like, it's like, if my brain, sometimes I'm fine and I can do a lot of, what do you call it, where you're like multitasking. That's it, multitasking. Sometimes I can do that and I can do it great. But if I have to focus on emails and taking bookings and talking to customers and blah 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 blah, like, I can't be distracted that much. I can't be distracted with smelly old man and that. And so, like, yeah, that job was great. I liked that job. I could do really well with that job, but I ended up just quitting because it was too much. And I was guaranteed 1 day off a week, and I ended up working eight days straight. And that's when I was just like, I made a mistake. I didn't tell the girl that was on to refresh the computer, because bookings might come in after, late in the afternoon, and I didn't advise her or show her how to do that. Nobody even showed me how to do it. I figured it out. I learned it on my own. But, and so she missed a booking when I left. After I left, she didn't, and some dude did not get his key to get in. And so she went off on a, like, I found out the next morning she went off on a tirade. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we're going to just quit this job because this is not gonna work out. But I did try to, like, wear, like, noise canceling headphones and try to do some of that. And then I know that I just, I think I did disclose to sidearm carrying dude that I was neurodiverse, and I'm sure that got back to the boss, because he was like this with the boss. And eventually, like, when I did quit, I was just like, I don't think you need me. You got dude there, sidearm carrying freak. You're good. You don't need me. And yeah. So, whether it's just, not knowing what a good job would be for me, or just the fact that I end up getting fucked up jobs, or what it is. My therapist actually says probably more like, you try to fit yourself to the job, where you need to find a job that's fit to you. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to share, but the main message here is that if you suspect that you have neurodiversity, if you suspect you're autistic or ADHD or both, or you know, um don't give up on the search, don't give up on the, because, like, years back I wanted to get an assessment and my insurance didn't cover it. Or, like, I could tell you the nightmare about trying to go in someplace and getting an assessment. Yeah, whew, it was a nightmare, but that's a whole nother story. But don't be discouraged. It took me like 4 or 5 years to try to get to where I could actually have it done. So, anyway, I just want to be more encouraging. I don't want to be discouraging. So if you, you know, are struggling, you're not alone. You know, it's unfortunate, but a lot of us, especially women, older women, we fell through the cracks, and we've tried really hard to, like, do this life like, like everybody, like we're supposed to, whatever. And, it's just not possible, without some kinds of help and accommodations. So, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and make sure you get out in nature. Do a little spinning if that's your thing, and do it if it ain't. Anyway, so have a good rest of your day.